What do you make of the quiet man who stalks the pavements to the harbour with determined tortoise steps, as if each stone was the unbroken shell of a quail's egg, and every other Wednesday rides the trams to the marketplace to buy 2 bunches of bright chrysanthemums to decorate his windowsill? And because it's rude to stare, you watch him unfocused, weaving through the peripheries of busy crowds, wondering, was it an industrial accident or some sort of disease that washed out all of his colour, left him living gunmetal grey? If you should see the grey man, never look at him straight. Glance the other way, don't tempt fate. Resist the urge to gaze directly into his face. Didn't Mummy ever warn you of changes in the wind? Ignore his ashen clothes, the heavy-duty charcoal jacket, those shining strands of silver hair that sweep his pewter brow. Don't gawp like a gutted cod at the cheeks of pinched permafrost, but glance the other way, at the floor and back again. Don't watch the puckering oyster fringe of his reticent lips as he leans in close to converse with the florist. Beware the burst of his rain clouds, drifting wafts of wood smoke under the peak of his cap pulled low. If you should spot the grey man, never look at him straight. Glance the other way, step aside or wait. Resist the temptation to stop and shake his hand. Didn't Mummy ever warn you of changes in the wind? Seems like no one's noticed. He lives in perpetual shadow that tinges everything he touches a definite shade of taupe. Though you've overheard a rumour, he's the last forest troll, a changeling swapped in a cradle for a pink-cheeked boy with wide blue eyes and rose-hip lips, who slept by an open window at the forest's edge. He dreams in fossils of his human double, living the life of a wood sprite under the roots of an ancient tree, growing on the crown of a sacred mound no human's ever seen. If you should meet the grey man, never look at him straight. Glance the other way, don't stop to speak a word. Resist the sudden urge to follow in his wake. Didn't Mummy ever warn you of changes in the wind? And didn't someone mention he's coated in a fine growth of lichen from sitting on a rock some 48 hours a week, watching the steel-tinted waves lap at his webbed feet? Perhaps it's a self-induced psychosomatic condition stemming from the day he discovered his soulmate's affair and everything around him turned harsh survival slate. He's since become a living glass of Lancre, the perfect hangover drink. His skin's not skin at all, but grapefruit and gin. And if you dare touch him, your fingers had slipped through liquid far enough to tap the ice cube of his heart that refuses to thaw in midsummer heat. If you should spot the grey man, never look at him straight. Don't stroke the catfish whiskers or tickle his scales or catch the scent of his flowers. Don't take the bait. Didn't Mummy ever warn you of changes in the wind? Didn't Mummy ever warn you of changes in the wind? Jesus of the Elk writes as a matter of personal survival. His poems are tracks through snow-covered woods, a tuft of coarse hair on a barbed wire briar, burnt wood, cigarette butts. They lead to places I'd rather not visit, through brambles, hazels and junipers to the banks of a black river. He writes to get at the truth of things, singing the origins like a brooding enchanter, Wainamoinen, tired from freezing lakes, of moving mountains, by hammering out the beat of words from inside the belly of a giant. But palindromes, he says, allow me to play, they lighten my mind. After talking with Jesus of the Elk on the banks of a black river, with the music of the dead drifting over the water from their stereo in their spirit summer house, my instinct is to spit in his face. I want to slide a spear into the side of this gentle creature. Do I call him friend? And I'm not a violent man. I'm not a violent man. But he leaves me shambling and convinced that we all exist as nobody inside the Cyclops' gut, sometimes peering out of its fundamental eye at a world without perspective, scrabbling for 3 lost words to release us and complete the song of our ship, give it the spirit to cradle us as we continue our long voyage home.